unfortunately, in Venezuela, but it won't get you the death penalty. But the
No, it
United
won't.
States coddle Venezuela. I mean, Saudi Arabia. I mean, I mean,
Yes.
and Saudi Arabia commits contributes to more terrorism against the West than Iran. But yet the United States is so obsessed with terrorizing Iran, while they look the other way. While Saudi Arabia, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And to be clear, one of our presidents, our former presidents, also said this as well too, that Venezuela has the most transparent election system in the entire Western Hemisphere. Jimmy Carter said this.
God rest his soul.
Also, Venezuela, um, they have their own way of doing free housing, and that's through oil reserve sales. It
Mm-hmm.
started under Chavez. So people are actually able to get free housing under Venezuela because of the oil. And what Donald Trump wants to do is take away all that. So that's why I said that Venezuelans were free before they took Maduro, and they are still free now because Maduro government still is in power. Because they have these options still. They are still able to get what they can under this capitalist system. And if Donald Trump, because right now we are surrounding them in the Gulf, we are actually don't have any foot soldiers. We have not invaded. Those were special ops. They became in. They went in and they went out. That's all they did. They did not stay. Those are special ops. So I think it's very, very important. I think it's very, very important that we understand this and that we educate everyone we can. I don't I don't have time to hear this. Oh, all Venezuelans are celebrating. There's
AI videos.
literally, yeah, there's literally marches nonstop that you can see when you follow people that are actually from Venezuela instead of following the idiots in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Or what they call them, Gasanos, the Gasanos that are anti-Cuba, stuff like that. When you follow those people, you see what they want you to believe. But when you follow people within these countries, you talk to these people, you have access to talk to these people in these countries. You will see a totally difference. You don't even have to be a journalist like me to understand that. You will see a total difference. You will.
Now, I'm gonna tell you, when it comes to Kim Iverson, sometimes I agree with her.
Oh God.
Sometimes I'm like, what the fuck, Kim? So I'm like, I mean, sometimes I will listen to her and I'm like 50-50. I'm like, and there are times I'm like, why do you say that? So, but he said something sensible the other day, and
Oh,
it
what she say?
and she said about this whole thing with Venezuela and the possibility of Cuba coming next. And the
Mhm.
problem with Trump going into, if he puts ground troops into Venezuela and if he does a takeover of Cuba, that there will be a migration crisis like you can never imagine
Yes.
into Florida. and
Yes.
and and if there was anything that would bring the United States down, that will do it, with Venezuela and Cuba, because it'll just be too much resources, and also basically, and a friend of mine and I were talking about this, a lot of Latin America. I mean, there'll be probably a paramilitary movement in Latin America will be uniting like you never imagined before. There'll probably be weapons coming from Russia and China helping out and everything. I mean, and honestly, that could cause a situation really with Russia and China having a confrontation with the United States. Do they really want that? Do they really want that?
Well, I don't think China will get involved. Unfortunately, I think China has made it clear how they want to play in this game. But would Russia get involved? I do think so. Um, I do think so. I just can't. I can't put China in any scenario besides Taiwan. But will when they will actually get involved? I feel like they will only get active for Taiwan, and you don't want them getting active for Taiwan. I feel that um Russia needs to reevaluate What is it that they actually stand for? Because their foreign policy is absolutely awful. Russia's being tested right now from Syria and so on. If Venezuela falls, people will be looking at Russia again and be like, well, what does this mean for the Sahel region? Because here we go again, a second country is being threatened to fail. And then on your when you talked about Latin America, we already see that there might be a cusp of a Latin NATO happening from what I see on the ground. Talking to people and looking on social media. My friend, my good friend, Kovalik, Dan Kovalik, who's a performing professor at Pittsburgh University. He loves coming on my show. I don't know why, because I have such a small audience, but I really appreciate his time. Thank you so much, Dan, by the way, for being so into coming on my show. He is the lawyer for Gustavo Petro, who is the president of Colombia. And Gustavo Petro is ready for action. Cuba is ready for action. The government of Cuba, they're taking Trump's threats as all right, motherfucker, then try it. And then also in Chile, which was interesting. I did not expect this. Chile also said, we are not going to tolerate this. It'll be Venezuela now, and it'll be whoever else next. So we need to stand. And then also there's the great one in Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, who is my favorite president, who was my president at this point.
Mine too. I've said that. I would be proud to call her my president.
She is not playing. She's a pit bull as well too. So I think Latin America is soon to have a poised type of NATO situation to defend themselves against America. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, says that we just trying to figure out the situation. Any other?
It's stressful, right? Because now Greenland. What the fuck is that about?
Savvy Sabs has something to say about Greenland today. She said, yeah. She was commenting on Vice President J.D. Vance talking about how I don't necessarily agree with Denmark being in charge of Greenland, but as if the United States would be kinder to Greenland than Denmark. Right. Denmark being one of the kindest societies in the world with their gentle social democratic framework, and the United States, come on now, I mean, and their healthcare system is as socialized as the UK National Health Service and Cuba's national healthcare system, and the United States is going to treat them better. Bullshit.
Which my issue with that is because JD Vance, he's so weird. It's like, you such a white nationalist, but your girlfriend, your wife, and your kids are like not white. They're Indian, but whatever. He went over there to tell them, oh, the reason why we want Greenland because you guys are not treating your people better. They have universal health care, JD Vance. Before we even get to anything else, I'm pretty sure there are some human rights issues with the indigenous people in Greenland that they will love to talk about because they've been ran by Vikings for so damn long. I'm pretty sure they have some grievance. But my thing is that on the universal healthcare level alone, they are doing better than what we are doing with other countries we control. Way better. Just off of that alone. So you went over there and tried to say that they're not doing enough? This administration is embarrassing. Biden administration was embarrassing too, on the fact that they were just so close to nuclear war and did not give a fuck. They didn't care about that. These guys are just ridiculous on every freaking level. They can't even tell a truth. They're so embedded in lies that it's just every day they wake up and it's a reality that they can interpret, and they tell you what the reality is. It's like
cartoonishly incompetent.
It's very bad. It's very, very bad. Which is why, I agree with the former president of Russia. I can't think of the dude's name right now. His name was right in my my mind and it just went away. But he was a former president of Russia when Putin was the prime minister, and he's harder on Ukraine than Putin is. He said that we need to stop negotiating with the United States and see this country as a mortal enemy. I agree with that. It's clear as day. We are a rogue state. You know, we have people here in this country that still want to justify regime change while we are literally supporting like 3 genocides right now. Palestine, the Sudanese genocide, the Congo, and we just bombed the fuck out of northern Nigeria before we even invaded Venezuela and took their president. And the northern Nigerians, there was a CNN report that said, oh, we don't know why they bombed us because there's no Boko Haram here. But they told the media to say it was ISIS there. Oh, you mean the ISIS that we control with our tax dollars that attack the Sahel region off of the behest to topple Ibrahim Traoré and the junta government up in Niger in Mali? The same Ukrainians that are also working with ISIS to try to topple the Mali government. That ISIS, I don't know if I believe you. The ISIS that works with Al Qaeda that has Al Jilani in power over the HTS movement in Syria that is putting Alawite children in slavery while slaughtering Christians and the Druze. That ISIS, I don't think but whenever they just use ISIS at this point, it's a lie because ISIS is doing their bidding on our payroll that we give them with our tax dollars. So everything they're saying is a lie. It's all to just keep people in line. Everything. They're trying to keep the empire strong, and that's it. They want to get rid of all the deals that Latin America has with China and Russia and other big deals with Iran and other countries that are anti-America, and they want to keep them in line. They want to keep their foot on their necks. It's the new Monroe Doctrine. He called it the Donald Doctrine. Yeah, the Donroe Doctrine. That's the agenda.
I call it just old-fashioned neoconservatism. Yeah. Yes. And I have a new nickname for Donald Trump, Neocon
Don. You mentioned something about the tariffs as well. Well, you didn't say anything about tariffs. You talked about the economy. The tariffs are working for the rich here. They are, but they're not working for us.
Okay, I got something to say about the tariffs.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's go.
Yeah. Now, I am traditionally somewhat of a protectionist, but here's the thing: you have to be a protectionist with some wisdom and common sense. Donald Trump doesn't have it. He goes with his fucking emotions. I'm gonna go and put tariffs in that country, and tariffs on that country, and tariffs on that country, and that's how he does it in with like a little child having a tantrum, and with no rhyme or reason, and no national policy to protect industries and to protect workers here in this country, and so. Yeah, it's going to make prices go high, and it's going to go and create dysfunction domestically because there are going to be times you need to go and deal with another country to trade with another country on certain things that are not accessible here. And people say that people who are wealthy and people who are that the wealthy, they obviously know how to run businesses or what have you, and the people in the capitalist class. No, Donald Trump is a classic example. He's a failed businessman. He failed his way up in life. He's basically the Forrest Gump of the billionaire class.
Yeah, I would say that he is definitely in this stance for what it means for white supremacy in this country, a very useful idiot. You know what I mean? When you have someone in like Russell, let's make sure that we get this dude named correctly. When you have someone like Russell Vought, who is the architect of Project 2025, and he is the head of Doge, not because he was the second choice, but it was designed for him to be the head of Doge. Why did I say this? Because Elon Musk was just the distraction for Doge. That's why he's no longer. He was already going to leave to begin with. This whole drama that people were talking about and shit like this. I really don't even believe that they really do genuinely hate each other. I feel that these are rich people that have huge egos, and when they get mad at each other, they throw licks, but at the end of the day, they still have a solidarity for white supremacy. You see this in Elon Musk consistently with his tweeting. The white people are running out, we're dying out, blah blah, we're not making enough white kids. You know what I mean? Like, you see it with him. And then you have someone like Russell Vaught, who is a extreme white supremacist that is literally been quietly. Notice how Doge is no longer in the news. Quietly running Doge. Quietly. And he's the architect of Project 2025. And then you have someone like Donald Trump. While you got Russell Brand, the white supremacist in power, that's hot. There's 13 billionaires in this administration. Never been this much billionaires in one administration. And you got him in power. Then you have Donald Trump making a comment saying, well, the civil rights demonized white people. While also doing rollbacks on civil rights policies with his executive orders and stuff like that. There's an agenda here, people, and I think it's clear as day what the agenda is. They are going back to the ideology of being the master race, and if they get what they want, which is why I hate the Democrats even more for this, because their policies helped him be able to do this more smoothly than how he was acting in 2016 term. I feel that this is what we're seeing, Germany, basically. Not even just Germany, because Germany learned from us. So they just want to return back to Jim Crow. This is why it's legal in California now to deny people service because they're black and stuff like that. Like, it's rolling over. When they say they want the states to do these things, that means that they want to get rid of all your rights that you fought for, and then the states, no matter what state you're in, you're at their mercy. Like, that's the end game. What do you think?
I never thought. Well, no, I take that back. I had a horrible dream in 1989 that, and I that, like a prediction almost, that we would be in some kind of a fascist state, and I thought maybe I was overreacting. And I was, how old was I at the time? I was like 20 years old. I had a dream that we will be where we're at right now. Never thought it would be a dummy like Donald Trump as president, but that the country would be so far to the right, and we would be taking, everything would be changing backwards. And this was at the time when Ronald Reagan and George Herbert Walker Bush was in charge of everything. And then I was thinking maybe I was overreacting, and all of that. I say, surely we won't get to that state in this. We will never get to this point in this country. And I'd be damned, we're like in the cusp of getting to that point in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
when you have Russell Vaught, the architect of Project 2025, in the administration, a part of Doge, we are definitely
when we have Palantir ready to monitor the entire population, and you got people who are very quiet about it and not giving a damn right now, and especially the MAGA freaks, and there's a possibility that Democrats could win back the midterms and could win back the presidency. It's a possibility. And here's the thing. I'm a principled civil libertarian, not a libertarian, but a civil libertarian. I'm a free speech guy and all of that. And I even believe assholes have a right to have their political opinions and all that. But But as soon as the changing of the guard happens, and what the Trump people and what the Trump administration have been doing to go and attack immigrants and attack the left and all that, as soon as the next Democratic president, President Gavin Newsom, tries the same shit against the MAGA movement, they're gonna all of a sudden they're cheering Trump for doing this to the left and doing this to the immigrants and doing this to the LGBTQ people. They're going to be screaming bloody murder when the Democrats do this tepidly against some high profile MAGA folks. They're not going to do it to all of them. They'll do it to a few of them, and they're going to do it apologetically.
Yeah. And you know, there was something that you mentioned that I wanted to piggyback off of. What was it that you mentioned? It's very, very important. Democrats. Okay, there we go. So, you know, let's say they win the midterm election, which is what it looks like it's looking like. You know, we can't sit here, like a lot of people think that the right wing is winning. So let me push back on why I disagree with why the right wing is winning. First of all, the turnout rate for this last election that got Donald Trump in office was low as hell. People lost confidence in Kamala Harris, which is why 15 million people dropped from even going to vote. 15 million less than what the Biden administration won. Also, that tells you that they dropped not only because of Harris, but because of Trump as well, too. They didn't feel like there was a competent enough candidate to keep this agenda going and moving forward, so they stayed home. Okay, next point. Donald Trump, when you look at his feed, it says millions of views on this stuff, thousands of likes. A lot of it is from people that don't even live in this country. And it's probably bots as well, too. The bot nonsense with the races all over the goddamn comic section. Majority of working people don't even think this way. Being an organizer myself that have been out in the streets talking to working people, red, white, blue, whatever, they don't even think of like this. They don't act like this. They don't be on social media arguing with people like this. What we see in the polls, that majority of Americans agree with a lot of left issues. They want abortion. You know what I mean? They want women to have autonomy for their bodies. This whole red wave is a blown up out of proportion ad revenue project. Ben Shapiro has lost a lot of followers.
Oh my
God.
God.
Yet they still consider Ben Shapiro one of the biggest commentators, but because he spends a lot of money on his ads. Same thing with well, actually, I would not say Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is actually very, very popular. Same thing with his components with the Charlie Kirk squad. They spend a lot of fucking money on ads. You know what I mean? Their popularity is really not a popularity. Donald Trump's approval rating, by the way, is -24. That's the second lowest to Nixon. Nixon is -36 or something like that. I think it's 40 actually. He's not popular. So when it comes to this midterms, the Democrats have the ball. I do see them winning. Now, here's the issue. I don't think they're going to impeach him. I don't think they're strong enough to do it. I have no confidence in them whatsoever. They did it. They tried it last time. What happened? What happened with that?
I think they will impeach him. I don't think that they will remove him. I think this is what I think that will happen. The House will impeach him, but I mean, I think that Chuck Schumer is such a sorry sack of shit.
That's the reason why.
Yeah, he'd be like, right, well, we need to be a united country, and I mean, he'll just be the worthless, wishy-washy, there's just not enough words in the English language to illustrate my contempt for Chuck Schumer. I mean,
well, he's a Zionist, so he's a Zionist. So
yeah,
he's automatically on Trump's side to me. All the Zionists are Trumpers. at the
Yeah,
end of the
he's just horrible.
day.
Yeah, and you know the thing about it, I have a lot of issues. Obviously, we do with AOC, but I would say
Mhm,
that there's one area where AOC is still useful. Not that Chuck Schumer is wonderful in the year 2026, but
mhm,
AOC may have contributed to him being less shitty. If AOC wasn't around, he'd be shittier than he is now.
mhm,
He's scared of her.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I can't predict what the future holds with AOC and Jasmine Crockett's of the world. But what I do know for a fact is that while Trump is in office, the midterms is 3 years away, right? No, no, incorrect. In a year, right? Yes. So we have another year before we figure out what the midterms are going to look like. So Donald Trump has another year to act the fool, and he's the useful and the idiot. But everyone that is in his administration, the lawyers, the the appointed judges and prosecutors, the federal government, Christy Gnomes of the world, all these people, I think they know that he likes to just be told yes, and they will conspire with a diabolical plan, Project 2025, and they will use him to get their diabolical plan going. I think that's what exactly is going on. That he's the useful idiot, he's the cheerleader of the group, and Marco Rubio will finally get what he want. You know his dick is hard right now.
yeah, yeah.
Over in Venezuela. Am I allowed to? Am I
I'm a
doing
dirtbag leftist. We're
okay? All
politically
right.
incorrect around these parts. I got a
You know his
question
dick
for
is
you.
hard.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
2028, and when I'm saying the presidential election in 2028, I'm not talking about who do you think will win, and we're not talking about as far as Democrat Republicans. We know it will be one or the other, but who ultimately, regardless of party, who do you ultimately would you like to see win in the presidential election? We're talking about any party, anybody in particular, any candidate that you would like to see that has the chops policy. Who would you like to see run for president in the year 2028?
I think Claudia Dela Cruz did a very great campaign, and she deserves a lot more attention than she got last time. And she brings in a lot of numbers alone with her advocacy on her posts. Um, she has thousands of views, sometimes millions. Um, Add them up, there already are millions. She's very, very poised. A lot of progressive women and socialist women in the influencer movement knows about her. That I see them posting about her. She's getting very, very, very popular. The People's Forum is an entity of a different beast within the labor movement, and they are needed in this labor movement so strongly. So I think she is the most perfect candidate to run this country if it was ever possible. We will be 1,000 times better if we had a Claudia Dela Cruz as our president.
I would not have any problem voting for Claudia Dela Cruz, but I do have a favorite myself,
Who's your favorite?
Brianna Joy Gray, hands down.
She's dope. I like her.
I want her.
I want her on the show.
I want her on my show too eventually. But
Yeah.
I think Brianna Joy Gray. I mean, policy wise and everything. I'm like, she needs to run for president, and she forwarded a
She's a
tweet.
different beast as well too.
Yeah, I
She
mean,
is.
she forwarded my tweet maybe about 6 7 months ago. I mean, I didn't think anything. I was just like, I said, I wish that Brianna Joy Gray would run for president. I highlighted her name, and she saw it and she posted it on Twitter. I was just like, cool. She thought about me for 20 seconds.
Well,
I'm like,
yeah. I mean, how do you contact her? I tried to get Sabby Sabs to tell me what's her email and stuff. But she didn't get back with me.
I guess I could
So I just
contact
left it alone.
Sammy Sabs. I mean, I guess I could contact her. Maybe I could
Because I had Sabby Sabs on the show before a documentary came out.
Yeah.
That was a great interview.
Yeah. Yeah, eventually. I guess my show needs to be a little bit bigger. So, but I just got to,
Baloney,
huh?
baloney, baloney.
Yeah.
They need to come here. This is where the people are. This is
Yeah,
the
that's
people's
true. That's
movement.
true. That's true.
They need to bring their behinds here and pay homage to working people.
That's true.
Because
That's
they
true.
are only big because of working people. We
Yeah.
make them big.
I, I tell you, I just got over 1,000 a couple of weeks ago, and that was awesome.
Mhm.
It took me almost six
That's
years
dope.
to get 1,000.
That's dope, Willie. Congratulations. I
Yeah.
can't wait for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations, my
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah, it just and we're all shadow banned. I mean, all of us.
Oh, it's
E-
bad.
Even the bigger platforms are shadow banned. So I
Yep.
mean, just I mean, they're all shadow banned and all that. And I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, just I thought about it. It's like maybe some kind of a lawsuit or something to sit there and to get rid of the algorithm shadow ban that they have or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, and it's like, see, I use Substack a lot now, and I use Instagram a lot now. TikTok is ran by Zionists now, so I'm not really posting as much on TikTok because of the Zionist connection. It's very, very sad that we lost TikTok. That's the other issue with capitalism. This guy from Singapore, can't think his name right now, but he had a great opportunity with ByteDance. He had a great opportunity to revolutionize the algorithm in social media, but he sold out for billions of dollars. He did.
Yeah.
He could have fought Trump on that. He did. He had the resources to fight Trump on that, but he sold out for billions of dollars. These Karens in office, these Republican Karens that are in office, are they don't know jack shit about technology. When he came to the hearing, they asked the most stupid, idiotic questions that a 4-year-old child probably could have answered. you know,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't a hard hearing. It was a hearing where I guess that guy in the back of his mind was probably thinking, like, why am I here? Like, why am I here? I think he was just done with the drama and he just sold the company. But I'm very disappointed about that. It was a TikTok is a very big L for the left because that is what exposed Gaza to new people, and now Israel is so most unliked out of any other country right now. TikTok did that, and it's
Well, people
sad
still
that they
talk
are sold
about
out.
Gaza on TikTok, though.
Yes, but it's not as the algorithm isn't serving it as it was before. There's NATO and CIA
Mm-hmm.
operates that are part of the company now, and they're repressing information. They are definitely repressing. Same thing as Meta. Michael, I mean, isn't it crazy how Mark Zuckerberg literally said on the Joe Rogan podcast with no problem openly, "Oh yeah, we stay in touch with the feds. The feds tell us what to take down." just
You know what I think
just
needs to be.
openly like that.
I don't think the feds are going to listen to me saying this, but what I think that Panquake needs to do is Panquake needs to get a lot of the lefties to go into MySpace, bring it back, and
Wouldn't that
take
be
the
great?
Trotskyist tactic and take over MySpace and have Panquake take over MySpace somehow and let that be the platform for Panquake.
Yeah, man. I mean, we need something, man.
Yeah.
Either we get like I mean, there's this app called how much time you got? I don't want to. I know we went over an hour.
Probably about 20 more minutes, and then I got to eat.
Okay. There's this app called Fanbase right here that I'm starting to use. People should follow Jabari Media on Fanbase.
Fan
Fanbase
base.
is it's a black owned. Here it is. Here's what it looks like. It's a black owned social media app. It's owned by Isaac Hayes the third. You know, if you a Isaac Hayes fan, you know who Isaac Hayes the third father was. Um, it's an app for creators, and you can also buy stock and get ownership into the app. So not only you can be a creator on the app, you can also for a cheaper price become an owner where you own stock for that app. Pretty nice. And of course, you got to build a following, all that stuff, just like the jazz. You know what I mean? And you just don't go on and be like, "Oh my god, I'm big," just so people don't think that that's what happens. You got to build your own following, fan base. Seems pretty cool. Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Uh,
You know what I mean?
and
I don't know much about if he has anybody from the government. I've looked into it. I haven't seen any government influence on it yet. But you know, there's something there. Hopefully it takes off. There's a lot of people on it right now, I'll tell you that much. It's not like it's not being used to the biggest full of potential.
Okay, I'll forward that to everyone here. There we go.
Yeah, check it out.
Fan base, everyone. Check it out. All right.
Also, you know, follow me on Substack, Twitter, YouTube. We got to get this movement going with little creators. We got to support little creators. There's a lot of good information coming out from Willy Bragg that I have seen him post and stuff. A lot of good information coming out from Extra Bola. A lot of good information coming from Tommy Nation. I was on Tommy Nation's show last week. I'm going to be on Extra Bola show on the 28th. There's a lot of good podcasts here, man, that people should support because it's important. Please like and share and show people this because there's a lot of information here. We're not going to lie to you. We're not backed by donors.
Mm-mm.
We're not backed by George Soros and the crew.
Yeah, we're not.
That's who they're after.
Yeah, we're not right wingers and we're not shit libs.
You know what I mean? We're working class people giving you a working class perspective. And that's so important right now. You know what I mean? My boy Alex Suarez, for instance, you know, he had a teaching job. And he goes through a lot being a Florida teacher. You know what I mean? Florida is one of the most suppressors of information as a state. And we need information out there. You need these shows out there. CNN is not going to tell you what's going on. CNN is going to tell you, oh, we should bomb Iran. Fox News is going to tell you, oh, we should bomb Iran. Iran tore Israel's ass up in the 12-day war. It was Israel that asked for a ceasefire first. And now they want to do it again. These people are suicidal, the Zionists.
Yeah.
But you won't know that because on the ground, Western media is going to tell you, oh, well, we destroyed Tehran, which is true. Tehran did take some casualties. But a third of Tel Aviv was destroyed. No, a third of Haifa was destroyed, and almost half of Tel Aviv was on fire. They hit them up with them hypersonic missiles. So we need to hear the truth, and you're only going to hear the truth through media platforms like you and I, and Breakthrough News, People's Dispatch, Intercept. Who could you think of? Sabby Sabs, Gray Zone.
Yeah,
you know, and those are the only outlets that will tell you the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you a funny story. A couple of days ago, I was at work. I work graveyard shift, and a vendor came in the middle of the night, and he heard me. I was listening to Due Dissidence, and he was like, "Hey, you listen to Due Dissidence?" I said, "Yes, I sure do." And he's like, "I do too. You heard of the Gray Zone?" I said, "Absolutely." And so
that's good.
But we were listening, so we started a conversation and everything. And I said, "Yeah, I listen to them. I even know. I mean, I've had them on my show too, Keaton and Russell. So, I know them. So just like
thank you, Teresa.
Oh, yeah. So." it was just kind of like, yeah. So he said he was like I was the first person that he ever ran across that ever he caught listening to, So that's
Yeah,
cool.
man. And it's good to see that when you run into people that knows that, like some people don't like Jamal Thomas, and like I don't agree with Jamal Thomas on trans issues and stuff like that. But what makes Jamal Thomas morning show so rich is that he has people from around the world that are on the ground giving out reports. You know what I mean? And when you have something like that, it's easier to combat the narrative. They want you, they want you to bow down and accept that America is the greatest country in the world. You know who else said that? Hitler, Julius Caesar, the Mongols back in the day.
Mhm.
And guess what? They're no more. They collapse. What's going to happen to us? Look, we'll probably end up like the UK. We'll probably lose our influence, not be able to dictate power as much as we want to anymore. But look, that's just the way it is,
Yeah,
and
but
we
they
are
have
in the
healthcare in the
decline
UK.
of what's up.
They have healthcare in the UK.
Then they got healthcare in the UK,
They
right?
got something we don't got.
We are looking at the decline of the empire. Our empire is desperate. This is why I called my two-part series on Venezuela the a desperate empire. We are seeing a decline, okay? And when it happens, I don't want nobody to be surprised.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, I'm probably gonna I'm getting hungry, and because you have any final words?
Yes, my season 6 is complete. Please check out my last episode for season 6. I had a young man who's an up and coming rapper by the name of Young Rap Raw. He is a young man. He's only like 22 years old, and he's doing a lot of stuff. I cover music, politics, and culture. So make sure you check out my two-part series on Venezuela that just came out, where I had a Peruvian activist that was actually on site in Peru talking about Venezuela and talking about what's going on in Peru. And I had, of course, my former co-host Alex Suarez, who is a Venezuelan assembly, no, a Venezuelan embassy protector. He's also Peruvian as well too, but he was part of protecting the embassy. He also was a Venezuelan election observer as well too. He was observing the election in Venezuela. He's a historian, so he gave out a lot of great information. He knows the government. The government knows him. He just hasn't met Maduro yet. Hopefully, one day he gets to meet Maduro. Free Maduro. All right. I feel
Absolutely.
like our government backtracked. They backtracked the evidence of saying that there was a cartel. They acknowledged that there is no cartel. So free Maduro, free his wife. Chavez spoke about this, that they were going to frame him with narco terrorism, but he died. And I think we all know the CIA killed him. So they framed his successor. They framed Maduro with the cartel. The cartel is a lie. The CIA created that in the 90s. Free
Hmm.
Maduro. And the
Absolutely.
Venezuelans are already free.
Absolutely. So everyone, support Jamar Jabari's work, and when I sign off here, I'll talk to you briefly before I do my thing. So,
All right.
um, yeah. So everyone, thank you for showing up here. Next week we're gonna have Dwight Welch on. He's writing a book right now, and he's going to be starting a podcast, and that's what we're going to be discussing. He's a former Socialist Party comrade of mine when we were both in the Socialist Party USA, and so that's what we're gonna be discussing, his podcast. So we got somebody else joining BreadTube. I've been encouraging him to do this for a while, by the way. I've been encouraging some people that has a foresight to go and do commentary. I mean, it's like, come on, go on, start commenting online, So
Mm.
some people are starting to listen to me. So in that regard. So everyone, thank you for showing up. If you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment anyway if you disagree, and we'll have a conversation. Feel free to share any content I have on this channel. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Subscribe to the Willy Bragg Show and reject all corporate media. And remember, free Nicolas Maduro,
Great Maduro.
free Maduro, free Palestine, free healthcare for all, free speech, and fuck the neocons. And until next time, everybody. Actually, in the next couple hours, hopefully, unless I postpone it, I'll see y'all next time. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. Let's see. Let me do this. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button.
Oh, Chuck is correct. Stay hydrated.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.